Hey, good evening. How's everybody doing tonight? Normally at this time you'd be tuning in for It's Legit Metaphysical World with your host, the lovely and talented Dale Beluccio. However, today is 3/21/2023, and I think if anything is to be said for the math geeks, it's that 2 plus 1 is 3. There's a 3 with the March. There's a 3 in the year. There's a 2 in the year. If Mike is ever right about anything, it's this, that, the math geeks went and screwed us. Because this evening, somebody was unable to do the math of 6 minus 8 equals 2, and that's the amount of hours we received for tonight's last-minute cancellation. So unfortunately, we had to go ahead and cancel It's a Legit Metaphysical World because Dale didn't have a guest reader to do the reading for our 2 guest readees. So let me just say this, okay? I got my beer of the week. I'll get into it in a minute. My name is Buddy Thayer. If you don't know me, I am the co-host of Legit Paranormal on live on Sunday nights. I am the producer of this fine show. It's a Legit Metaphysical World. I am also the scheduling body for legitpodcast.com. I do all the scheduling for Legit Paranormal on Sunday nights. I do the scheduling for Legit Paranormal Clips, which I'm also on Thursday nights live at 8:05, by the way. We have some awesome guests this week. I'll get into that later. But I do all the scheduling for these shows, and Dale does her own show, and when she needs help, I jump in and throw her a guest or two. So anyway, it really sucks when somebody backs out last minute and you have to try and fill that slot. We did the best we could tonight to try and fill that slot. We asked 4 or 5 different people. Nobody was available last minute. Of course, it was available at at 7 o'clock on a Tuesday night when the show comes on at 8:05. Nobody. And that's fine. The people that we asked, no hard feelings. The person who was supposed to be here, hey, no hard feelings. You get sick. I understand it. I get it. People have last minute obligations that suddenly come up. They're a little bit more important than a podcast. Pick up a phone. Let us know. Give us a little bit noticed. Be great. Just saying. Okay, so tonight's not legit. Tonight you're not walking hand in hand with Auntie Dale into a more legit metaphysical world. However, I am your bartender this evening. And while I'm talking about bars and tending them, let me finish pouring my beer. So tonight and this week, my beer of the week was a beer out of a brewery in Jamestown, Rhode Island. It's called the General's Crossing Brewery. I don't know if you can see that. It's in Jimmytown. It's right there, right on the bay, right on that little island. It's called a Norwegian Gravel. I say gravel. See how that's spelled with the O, with the line going through it? They made fun of me the other night, but it's Norwegian, and I cannot speak it. So Norwegian Gravel, it's a lovely 7.4 alcohol percent by volume. It is unfiltered. And it's a nice little Whaler's glass. That's another lovely brewery here in Rhode Island. And it's got no preservatives. So it's best to drink within a week after buying it at the brewery. And that's the only place you can buy it, at the brewery, which is, oh boy, buddy's searching for an address. I can't find one, but like I said, it's in Jamestown. So without further ado, this evening I have a very special legit rerun that we're going to show. It's not Legit Metaphysical World. However, I'm giving you Auntie Dale. So that's that's my only hint. So let me go ahead and do this. Share my screen. Hopefully you don't get weirded out by the... All right. The dogs are excited. Everybody's excited to see Auntie Dale. And I'm excited to bring you Auntie Dale, whether it's Auntie Dale or on our own show, or Auntie Dale on one of the greatest paranormal shows of all time, Legit Paranormal. Enjoy, Auntie Dale.
This guy, which is me, is the genius Kev. Genius, how are you tonight?
Very good, King. Looking forward to the show. Watching football in the background, but I cannot wait to get.
You're froze. You can't wait to do what? Max Headroom?
What? Ready?
You already froze. It's a weird. Oh, there you are. Too bad. It was a nice picture. It was like a nice photo. You know what I mean?
At least it was. Could have got caught at a bad time, but just decided to get the show going. It's a good day of football so far. Good day bets wise, and let's have a good night.
Well, Kev, as you know, we're about to bring on the man, the myth, just the man, I guess himself, Buddy Thayer. Now, if you remember last week, with Buddy on a Sunday, which we do, as the kids say, as you do. We had our show, and we were going along through different things, and Buddy was telling us what he does and different things that he uses, and then we came upon something that I didn't necessarily know if I believed. It was the Italian in me that jumped out of me and said, "Hey, guy, time out. Oh, forget about this. Give me a second on this," right? And that's what usually gets me in trouble in my life. So,
fair.
Exactly. Not in the thing is, I don't know what I'm talking about. It's just, that's just kind of how it goes. So, anyways, joining us, of course, is Buddy Thayer. Buddy, how are you on this Sunday night?
I'm wonderful. I'm watching football. I'm relaxing after work. I cracked a nice, beautiful beer, Rhode Island beer, long live, from Providence. Heart of a Champion, 8.5%, absolutely delicious.
He pitches a great beer, doesn't he, Kev?
I love beer.
Yeah.
So check it out. So as soon as the show is over, see now as the show is starting to end, I knew Buddy couldn't wait to prove me wrong. He could not wait because I got a message from him as soon as the show ended. Like, hey, how about I get a guest next week? And Kev, I knew I was going for the setup.
Let's do this.
I was ducking like this. I knew it was coming. I'm like, because I know where my mouth leads me. The thing is, I'm like this now, but it's like, all right, here we go. So joining us, but I'll let you do the introductions.
Ta-da! Okay, joining us this evening is Dale Beluccio. Dale is the owner and proprietor of Greenwood Psychotherapy and Wellness Center in Warwick, Rhode Island. She's a independently licensed social worker, right? Yeah, yes, shake your head. Yes, that's what you do. Amongst doing that, she's a Reiki master, which means she deals with energy, and she brings this to her practice, as well as brings it to her own paranormal investigation with behind us Ocean State Paranormal, which is my group. So she's a member of my team. But she brings the mental health key to the table, which is huge, especially when trying to determine whether people are nuts or actually experiencing something. And she brings the whole energy, we were talking about energy, the pendulum, all that stuff last week. She brings all that to the table on top of it. So, Dale, welcome.
Thank you. Hi, guys.
Welcome, Dale.
All right, Dale. Dale, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
How long have you been using the technique of the pendulum?
About 5 or 6 years.
All right. So here's my questioning on that. Actually, but if you want to speak first, you can. I really want to ask.
What you got to do, man?
I want to ask these specific questions. Do you learn from somebody and then? All right. You ever notice when you're trying to learn a magic trick, you'll ask somebody and they just won't show you, because that's kind of and they'll tell you it's the kind of the rule of the magician. I'm just not going to show it to you. If someone has a real good trick, they just won't show it to you. Not saying that what you're doing is a trick. What I'm saying is, where do you learn it from? Walk me through how this starts, please, because I'm actually really interested in how it gets going.
Well, I originally started as a Reiki student. So there's 3 levels of Reiki training that you go through. Mm-hmm. So you start off Reiki 1, 2, and then you become a master. By the time you get to a master level, your senses are more heightened, for lack of a better word. And my teacher to become a Reiki master was probably one of the best mediums in the world, not even an exaggeration. Roland Comtois. He was my Reiki teacher, and he taught me to be a master. Through this whole process of opening myself up to receiving the energy, which is what happens when you become a Reiki person, I began to look at different outlets of how I could use my training. And I went to a friend's store white light in Cranston, Rhode Island. And I was, for lack of a better word, drawn to the pendulums that were hanging there. I took one. She told me just go home and just play around with it and see what happens. And I basically taught myself how to use it. Does that explain? There was no formal training except for my Reiki training in order to use the pendulum.
All right, I'm just going to pause right there. Why don't we explain? Can we explain what Reiki maybe is? The whole, you guys know what Reiki is?
Yeah, I do. But it would be. You're right. It would be good to start there because we started.
We kind of lead with energy. That's just.
Reiki is basic energy work. So what we believe as Reiki practitioners is that this is not Dale. This is what carries Dale around. Okay. Our bodies are just their muscles, their bone, they wear out. Okay. Inside is our energy. That's where Dale is. We believe that our energy is located in 7 major chakras or energy zones in our body, starting at the top of our head, at our crown, going right down the middle of our body. Okay. There's 7 of them. We believe when one of these chakras are blocked, that's when you can have physical and emotional distress. So as a Reiki practitioner, we put hands on or hands above, and we are trained to let the energy come from the universe, from divine, whatever you believe, through our crown, through us, through our hands to you, to unblock you, to get all your energy flowing so you feel more balanced, more at peace, more one. Does that explain what Reiki is?
Somewhat. It does explain it. I just don't know if I 100% understand it. Does that make sense? Like, I'm not saying what you just said wasn't wrong. I don't know if I understood it. Genius.
No, mate.
That's what you are, the genius. Help me out here.
I've read a little about it before, so I have kind of heard of it. I guess one thing that's interesting to me, Dale, with the way and Buddy, with the way Buddy gave kind of the intro, it sounds like you're doing kind of mental health work, but you're also doing the energy work. How do you, as like during your course, is it 2 separate businesses, for lack of a better term, or if I come in with a problem, do you assess both things? Is it is it one or the other, or do you think it could be a mental thing or it could be an energy thing? And then maybe we talk a little about that. Then I'll have some very specific, a little bit more specific questions on the Reiki side.
Well, it depends on what you're open to. So in my office, I have a Reiki table that I use. I can't use now because of COVID, but when I could, I would give Reiki sessions to people that were open to it, that wanted to try it. I've had a lot of success helping people unblock their chakras, their energy centers, and feel, like I said, less anxiety and less depression. So it depends on what the person's open to. Some people I do strictly psychotherapy with, and some people I do the more spiritual side to them. I personally believe in my field, the spirituality piece is very much overlooked. And I think a lot of people rely on that heavily in their daily life, and it can help them with their mental health. So I try to combine the two.
Here's a question.
Wait, all right, good.
I'm sorry. How do you? All right, so working with people that have psychosis or have schizophrenia, like hear voices. How do you determine, like, all right, this is like spiritual and this is maybe something like psychotic?
Okay, so Buddy, you and I have had spiritual paranormal experiences, correct, in our lives. Yeah. I mean, that's why we're drawn to the paranormal.
Yeah.
When you have mental health, it's very different than having an isolated paranormal experience. I mean, it doesn't affect our daily lives. We don't see and hear people all the time, constantly, as people with mental health do, with schizophrenia particularly. And the spirits from the other side that I've experienced and that you've experienced, Buddy, will not necessarily tell us to go harm people or harm ourselves.
Right.
So there's a very big difference between psychosis and the paranormal. It's how it affects your daily life.
No, I understand that. I just want to understand that. Thank you.
So here's what I gather from this so far. If I'm trying to piece this together as the common man, it's like the football guy, the sports guy that doesn't quite get it. I agree that we have souls. I've said that I think on this show a couple times. Kev, I don't know if I'm right. I've even said it in sports ones. To me, there's always been the head, the heart, and then the actual soul, which I believe is what you're saying about as far as the energy, the buzz that's within us. You're connecting the energy that's inside of us to all the energy that is around us. That's that whole we are everything. Like it's all the same thing. The problem I have with that is that I know that you know that, and here's the thing where I it's not a problem. It's just an issue I always have. Some people find religion. Let's just say they find, I don't know, what's the worst one? Scientology, right? If it makes them happy, I don't bother with people. I just let them be happy, right? You know, whatever. If they're doing this and it's okay and they're not hurting anybody, I'm always like, okay, I'm happy for you. Like if you find something that makes you happy, I'm happy for you. Generally, that's like the positive thing. So I sometimes think that people just from the positive speak, from just making them feel better mentally, you can, I don't want to say convince them because there we go. That's the Italian side of me. I'm trying to say you can persuade, I guess, them to feeling better. Maybe not from the shocker as much as from the like breaking in mentally, because you deal with mental illness and you deal with this. So I know you must be really good at that, right? I
don't understand your question. So are you saying I can manipulate people to feel better when I do Reiki because I know mental health?
That it might help you mentally when it comes to conversationally. Yes, that's what I mean by it. I don't mean that it helps you like like an evil wizard has a spell. I mean it helps you like it just you identify different types of people, different types of things. Like it would be easier, I would think, to talk to somebody, you know, to help them achieve what I guess you should be able to break down people, I would say, right? Quicker than we should, right? Just based on the fact that you've dealt with mental health, the fact that you've dealt with this side of stuff. So you should be a pretty judge of character, I guess is what I'm trying to say in a really long about sort of way over here.
Okay, but I'm still not getting what your point is.
All right. My point is well, all right.
Can I make a comment? So, like, if I think I kind of know where you're going with a little bit, and what I would say, I would kind of phrase it a little bit differently. Sure. If what you think is if you think there's a little bit able to kind of influence people or something in a certain way, there would probably be short-term benefits but not long-term benefits.
No, it's the ability to convince somebody to do something in a positive way, like in coaching. Like if I can get somebody to commit and do something, they're better for the rest of the year just by doing it. And they start doing something that they didn't know they could do 2 minutes ago. It's not like I taught them anything they couldn't do. You help them learn something, or you show them something that they had that they didn't do before, and all of a sudden now they can do it. Just like playing an instrument. All of a sudden you can't play this one riff, and then when you do learn it, it's like, how did I not know that riff? Like, how did I not know that riff? Now I just broke through. My point is, I would think that with Dale, it'd be easy to help them break through to calming, to bringing everything down, right? Because, you know, she's got a lot of backgrounds and a lot of areas that would do that would all come together, I would think, right? I mean, does that make sense? Buddy?
I think you're on your own on this one, Mike.
No, nobody agrees with me. I made some sense.
I think the real thing is get down to what's the actual.
My question is, my point was, does it help? Like, does having all the tools you have help in making people feel better? More so than somebody who maybe just does the Reiki side.
I guess you would have to ask my clients that. I think it helps them. So then it would. So all right. So that's my point. So having everything together helps. That's one of the things. So secondly, other than the how long did it take to learn to do the pendulum? That's what I should
actually. Like, can you hold on 1 second? I just want to ask one more question with the Reiki stuff. You mentioned 3 levels. Briefly, what's the difference between the levels? Is it a simple thing to kind of explain how you go up the progression?
The Reiki 1 is more about understanding the energy in yourself and personally. Reiki 2 is you learn more about the symbols and how to enhance the Reiki that you have and how to give it out to others. Reiki 3 is you're more heightened, and then you become a teacher so that you can further share it with other people.
What are the symbols?
Also, Reiki 1, you are not allowed to charge for it. It's strictly to be done on people you know and yourself. Reiki 2, you can start charging for it too.
Would that be like the woman that, like I had, when I was laid up in the hospital, I had a couple different, 2 women and 1 gentleman that would come by and offer to do that. And they're trying to burn up their, they were just, I don't know what they're trying to do, but they were great. They really were great.
The hospitals are very much into Reiki. They bring in Reiki practitioners all the time to do it.
What are symbols? What are symbols? What do we mean by symbols in level 2?
There are symbols that you use that you transpose while you're doing Reiki on the person to open up their chakras even more.
So, wow. So there's been like, so there's kind of been like proven like symbols to mark on a person, and that helps.
Yes.
That's phenomenal. Kev, did you know that existed?
I did not know that. No. So, okay.
See what I mean? This is like a you guys can understand. It's like a whole new ball of like, for us, we don't know. I know Ugatangab when it comes to this. That's how much I know. I'm just trying to learn it as I go.
Yeah, but haven't you ever hugged somebody and just felt different because you grabbed a hold of somebody and hugged somebody?
Dale,
That's an exchange of energy right there.
I 100% agree with you about the energy part of it. I'm like so on board with you, have no idea. I'm literally just trying to step back from what I like to think personally, and I'm trying to figure this out, like, because my issue with the chain going back and forth to 2 different directions was as simple as I just feel like a lot of times people reach for anything. So I'm very I don't know, apprehensive when it comes to stuff like that. But the worst part is I do believe in it. Like I'm probably one of the biggest believers in a lot of stuff. Because I felt it before. I know that there's energy before. Like I've actually felt certain people. I've cigarette smoke from my dad. Different things I've felt. I know I've had happen. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like I know it's there and it's real. I just really like to learn about the people. And I guess as I keep saying as an old school Italian, I guess I like to be like, I don't know, I'm a loudmouth. So I'm just, I'm trying to figure it out. The only way that I learn how to do these things. So, all right. So buddy, when do you, all right, is it just a choice between the box and doing the pendulum when you go to do something? Like it's just a choice, or are there specific places that you need specific tools? Is he doing this on purpose, or does he know that he can't hear us?
We can't hear you.
I thought you were just mouthing words to bust my chops.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
No,
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I had to turn up my mic. Excuse me.
Apparently,
no. It depends on like the situation. It depends on a lot of different things. But I go on an investigation wherever it may be, and I remember what was first told to me: go by how you feel. If you get a feeling like maybe there's something behind you, take a picture behind you. If you get a feeling like there's something in the room, do an EVP session. Use the question that you might know that might trigger somebody that might have lived there. Go by how you're feeling. You, the investigator, you, the person, is your best tool, right? We talked about tools last week. You, the person, is your best tool. So however you feel. So if I feel like there's like I talked about the feeling that I get. Dale has similar feelings. Other people have similar feelings. Not that we're sensitive or anything. Not that we're psychics or anything like that. But I mean, your body feels, like you said, different form of. You feel the energy change. You feel the pressure.
Hold it near your mouth.
You feel the energy change. You feel the pressure change in the room. Do you hear that?
Yeah, okay. Microphone.
If I turn it up. Okay, so you go by that feeling. Sometimes I walk into a house and I'll be fine, and there'll be nothing. And I'll walk up a set of stairs, and I get to like the 3rd step from the top, and specifically.
But when do you know you need
that sudden
Dale?
Change?
But when do you know to go to Dale? Like when you're planning it.
Dale's with me. Dale's with me the whole time.
But at what point do you go to the pendulum? Like I'm trying to figure out. Like, all right, it's time to go. Now it's time for the.
It's pendulum. A feeling, Mike. It's just like, all right, maybe you're saying, let's try the pendulum. Let's try the spirit box. Let's try the K2. Whatever's working we stick with, and if it's not working, we try something else. Like, let's just all sit around a room and bullshit and say a joke or something. This is like a Ken DaCosta thing. And you say a joke and you get an extra laugh. It's like, that's how you're going to get them to interact, is if you're all sitting around shooting the shit, or if you sit around singing a Beatles song, or if you if you're asking serious questions. You just go by either what you feel or what's working at the time. Or if nothing's working, I'm sorry, Dale, go ahead.
Well, sometimes also while we're doing the spirit box, Buddy will ask me, let's try to do the pendulum at the same time.
Thank you, Dale.
To see if we can get like a correlation. Or if we do it in an EVP session, he'll say, let's do the pendulum too, to see if we catch a voice while I'm doing the pendulum. So we have like collaboration, you know what I mean? So like I'll get a no on the pendulum and we'll get a no on an EVP, which will be very cool. You know,
yeah,
so we
and then sometimes even we'll get a whisper, no, you know, yes, right, as it's going up and down in yes or no direction.
Yeah.
Hey Kev, I think somebody else should be the boss of this whole paranormal thing. I don't know about you, but Dale just seems like she's got their antics correct.
I got some good tools in my box.
Telling me about feeling.
He's one of my good tools.
He's walking, feeling. He's walking.
I hold the hammer, Mike.
Well, Mike, I had another idea. If they need somebody to sit around and bullshit and tell jokes, you might have a spot on the team.
I know. Why would I not call? All right. So, with Dale, now, what do you feel during a pendulum session? What are you thinking? Do you clear your mind? What do you do?
Yeah, I try not to feel or think anything because I don't want to at all. I try to keep my hand solid on a table so it doesn't move at all, and then I just hold it very lightly and just let it go. And a lot of times I have other people ask questions, not me.
All right, buddy, don't move that mic. I had to mute you right there. It's making like a styrofoam sound. So, all right, I guess what my question was, you just try to be as dog-minded, we'll use that term, as you possibly could be, I guess, right?
Yeah, it's clear-headed.
Do you feel anything?
Not really. Not when I'm doing a pendulum. Not really. I mean, I have felt things like, Buddy, like when you walk into a room, I usually can feel it right in my heart. That's where I know there's something around me. I feel it right there, but not so much when I'm doing a pendulum here. No.
Now, all right. So do you think that your emotions would affect the pendulum? Like, in other words, say somebody asks a question and you want them to get a yes. It's just like, it's about a loved one, and they ask like a really deep question. You want them to get a yes, but you get a no. Like, what I'm saying is, do your emotions ever play into it? Like, your emotions don't ever like kind of like try to make it go yes. You know what I mean? Like because you've got energy.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. No, I try really hard not to let that happen because I don't know if I could influence it. But I really don't. I mean, when you think about it, I'm not moving my hand at all. If I'm just feeling a certain way and wanting a yes, I can really make something move in the way I want it to move.
That's cool.
Like, yeah, that would be
doing more than that, man. I guess. I don't know.
You know what I mean? But I really don't think I can do that. So I try to keep it clear and keep all my emotions out of it. And most of the time when we use the pendulum, it's not so much somebody like wants, like you're saying, like they really want to know or a yes from a loved one. Most of the time we're just trying to solidify if somebody's in the room with us. Mr. Smith, are you here? Yes or no? Is there any other spirits here? Yes or no?
No, I was just saying, like, if there was ever a question that you really wanted them to get a yes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because your energy goes through you all the way out, extending around. So I don't know. I'm just bouncing the idea of it, trying to figure it all out. Genius, do you have a question on this before I switch to the other one? Go.
Yeah, I had two questions. So, Dale, I guess, when was sort of the first time you actually, were on an investigation and you used it and it actually worked? Like walk through. I don't say worked. Like you actually were able to use it effectively in one of the investigations.
Well, we used it at the library, which was very cool because that was a public event that we used it at.
Nice.
And that was really interesting that we got a lot of solid answers of stuff that we had already known that was going on in the library, a lot of yes and no's. It's always interesting when we do it in a public forum, though, because we always say to people, a circle is no and up and down is yes, and they'll ask, like, okay, so what's the person's name that's here? And I'm like, better say yes now.
You better hope his name is Yes. His name is Yes.
Yeah, and Dale, that was my second question. The sort of the understanding that this way up and down is yes and the circle is no. How is that established? Like is it like, is that something you have to establish every session, or
when you first get the pendulum? This is really going to sound out there, I know, but when you first get the pendulum and you start working with it, and you put your energy and you become one with the pendulum, you ask your spirit guides, whoever is with you that's helping with the pendulum, what is a yes and what is a no, and they will show you.
Oh, okay. Mike, I didn't know anything about this. I do maybe want to talk about this for a couple of minutes, because I didn't realize that. Like, I thought you could pick up anything and use it. I didn't realize you had to sort of, I don't know, bond is probably the wrong term, but just.
No, you do. You have to bond with it. You can't. I always tell people who are interested in getting a pendulum, don't get them from Amazon. Like, go to a place and actually see whichever one you are drawn to. And that's how I found mine. I was drawn to it.
Is it based on the stone? Is yours made of a particular kind of stone? Does the stone have anything to do with it?
I don't know. My pendulum, where is my pendulum? Mine I was drawn to because it has, I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah. Oh.
It has all the Reiki stones on it too. And it has a rose quartz at the bottom. So I'm drawn to both of those types of stones. So that's what drew me to this one.
And quartz is known to be.
Don't let anyone else use your pendulum.
Okay.
You can't let anybody else use your pendulum.
No, your energy is in it. Nobody else's. It's not like, see, I take this very seriously. It's not like, it's not like a toy. This is something that's kind of sacred to me. So no, this is my pendulum. I don't let anyone touch it.
It makes sense.
I clean it and with sage and everything else. I put it out when there's a full moon. You put it in the moonlight to cleanse it, because sometimes it can keep the energy in it. So you take care of it like you would anything that you value.
Where do you learn the rules then? See how you're telling you're letting some rules slip out right there? Like, where do you learn the rules of it? I mean, being honest, that's you just said something about the moonlight. I wouldn't know that. How would I find out about the moonlight part?
Well,
Kim doesn't know.
My friend owns White Light Bookstore. She owns all this stuff with all kinds of crystals and pendulums. That's where I got mine from. She told me a lot about how to take care of crystals, how to take care of my pendulum, all of it.
Kev, the history of me is going. Where did this go? I want to know now where this started, how far back it goes. What's the deal?
That I don't know. I don't know the history of a pendulum. I don't know how long they've been around. I know they've been around for thousands of years.
Yeah.
Reiki started with a Buddhist monk in Tibet years ago and was brought over to America in the late 1960s by Mrs. Takaka, and she brought it over to Hawaii, and then it brought over to us. But they've been doing it over there, the healing hands and the healing energy, for thousands and thousands of years.
So, all right. So then I definitely have a question about Reiki. Seeing how it is energy, it's kind of spiritual. When I was in the hospital, I had it a couple times. A couple people, asked, and for some reason, maybe two, it felt like it worked. And when I say worked, it felt like I had some sort of improvement from before. And the other two times, nothing at all. So is it possible that that's also a thing? You just don't, like, how you found your pendulum, like walking, it drew you? Is it possible that when people do Reiki that you just don't match up with them?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And it's also how open you are to receiving it.
Yeah.
I've done Reiki on people where I've put my hands on their crown. That's where I always start, is at their head, on their crown. And I can feel they're completely blocked and they're not receiving anything. And they're just not open to it. I gave it to Buddy and it was unbelievable, because when I open myself up to receiving the energy from the divine, from the other side, whatever, I also open myself up to any other energy on the other side. So one, I have to be really careful that it's only positive energy that comes across, not negative. So I always make sure I'm surrounded in just white light and nothing negative can come across. And I've also had many experiences when I'm giving Reiki to someone where spirits from the other side come across too. I had one incident when I was working with this woman. It's the first time I ever met her. I didn't know her history or anything. She came in strictly for Reiki. And all through the session, there was a small child at the top of her head. Now, just like patting her head.
Whew.
So as I'm doing this.
Just got chills. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
As I'm doing this, I say to myself, how on earth do I tell this woman there's a child with her? Suppose she didn't lose this child. So, suppose she has a child. Like, how do you break this to this woman? So what I always do when I do Reiki, I give them the last 5 minutes just to sit in the energy and the music. And I go to the next room and I write down everything that I saw to kind of validate it, to prove, you know what I mean? So I did that and I went back in and I'm like, Dale, you can't say anything to this poor woman. You can't broach the subject. So I didn't. So I told her a couple other things. I don't remember what it was. And then at the very end, she's like, well, I have a question for you. I said, yeah, absolutely. She said, so wasn't my son with me? He's always with me.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, oh, I said, you're not going to believe me now, but I wrote it down. Here you go. Yep, absolutely. He's been at your head the entire time, patting your head. I saw him the whole time. So things like that happen a lot.
After that, you have to 100% be in. Like, Kev, like that's a 100% buy-in right there to like whatever it is that you're doing, because seeing a child at her head freak me out would freak. I just lost Buddy. It would freak me out, Dale. It really would. It was
beautiful. So, it was beautiful. Yeah. He was there petting her head, showing her love. It was beautiful. He was just to take care of her.
No, I have to flip that, because I'm assuming that there's probably been times where it wasn't her someone's child and it wasn't a beautiful scene, and there was something. Have you had a scenario where it's been something negative that's been present?
Well, see, that's why when I first started, I was only a Reiki level 2. Okay, at this point, so I was still relatively new in the energy. When I did a Reiki session, and it was with a young girl, she was about 15, 16, and I could just sense like a dark, heavy energy all around the table as I was doing it. So that freaked me out a little bit, and I just kept the white light going and nothing came across. And then afterwards I found out she had been experimenting with the Ouija board.
Oh, here we go.
Right? So I was like, oh, no, get that out of your house. Don't go near that thing. Like, no wonder I sensed something around you like that, But ever since then, I'm adamant about making sure my space is clean. Nothing's allowed in. Like, since then, I really haven't had anything that's really freaky. Now, it's been beautiful things and people that have come across.
I fear the negative side, Kev, that dark side, tremendously, because as scary as it sounds, like I always say this, that I always say that negative, positive, like there's always flip sides to everything. There's a blowback from everything. There's a different side of everything, right? So all the great things that are there, the positive things that are there's got to be multiple negatives that you don't want to let through. Yeah. And my Nana would tell me, like right now, with me, I have my Italian horn and the Milwaukee symbol, because as my Nana would tell me, when you talk about paranormal stuff like this, you're asking for trouble, or you're inviting in things that you may not like. So
see, I think we're always in charge of the energy around us.
I think you're right. See, I think they are
always in charge of it.
It's taken me so many years to even come close to learning this, because like I'm trying to say, I come from such a strict background where, again, they would tell you, leave that alone. Don't talk about that, because you're going to have something bad happen to you.
Yeah.
So I've always
you're going to burn in hell.
Yeah. I always was like, I'm just going to keep it to myself. And, opening up, first of all, for a guy, in my opinion, it's not easy. We're taught to be like tough, but it's a whole system of breaking down. But the positive energy, like it definitely works. And there's definitely people, man, there's people that come up to me. I don't know about you guys, if you guys like this, but they're just so positive. And it's not just that they're positive and bubbly, but you can feel them. They're in there in the room, and they just made the room go up a notch. They're around, and then they got me going. You know what I mean? It's like a positive thing.
Yep.
Same thing though with people that can be like, there's two types of negatives. One is that gonna complain, drown you out negative. That's like me when I'm hungry and we've been too long. And then there's that one where it's just scary and you can't quite put your finger on what's wrong with the situation, but you find out like years later you were right about that person. Like our JV coach, Kev, that became a varsity coach, who eventually got arrested for underage boys.
I didn't know that happened.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
That's why I didn't say name. We had so many coaches, but yeah, that was that. So I always felt that with him. There was just the minute you were near him, there was just something wrong. Like it wasn't like you felt threatened. You just knew there wasn't something right about him. Like he wasn't spinning correctly. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So, buddy, are you talking? Are you? No. No.
The mic.
There we go.
Oh, you hear me now? Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't want to like have the background coming in. I don't know what's going on.
When you go on, just put it right up.
I'll just put it right. Yeah.
All right. Now, Dale, when you go on, so if Buddy gets a call and someone comes down, do you help him with the whole filling out of that page and kind of like that first interview with the person before you go do stuff? Or are you just that I just show up, like you show up? Does Dale show up in like a brand new hot car just come out?
She comes in the Ghostbuster.
Yeah, and then just leave.
Everybody jumps out with proton packs. And we break the door in and say, we ain't afraid of no ghosts. No, generally, Mike, if I have a suspicion that I might have something, mental illness piece to begin with, I'll use my own judgment. And then if I need to go beyond that, I'll ask Dale. And if we need to dismiss it, we'll dismiss it because it's not real in somebody's head. Other than that, if we end up going into a house, I'll tell the whole team what's going on, what the claims are. We'll go over the questionnaire. We'll try and weed things out like, oh, it could be this, it could be that, it could be this, it could be that. And if it's this or that, then we don't go in. And if it isn't this or that, then we go in. If we're the last, like everything's been exhausted. Like, all right, it's not the electricity. It's not like a faulty wire. It's not like something. It's not something that can be reproduced. It's not something that like I could go there and make it happen and explain it. It's something like that. It's something that we can't explain. So we go in and we explore the ghost side of things. And the energy side of things, because that's what ghosts are, or what ghosts can manipulate.
You guys, you have like a shotgun type approach. You just hitting it, it spreads like a big spread. Like you do different things, is what I'm saying. One thing, you just try everything, right? It's just well, let's see what works. Is that like I'm trying to get we exhaust in the initial process of everything. Exhaust the even when we're on site, exhaust the possibilities that it could be. Could it be like, are you hearing something in the attic? Could it be animals? Is there proof that there are animals in the attic? Is there proof that there are animals entering the house at all? Is it something else? Is it this? Is it wiring? Is it electricity? Is it plumbing? Is it in the person's head? Is it anything, any of that? If it's not, and you exhaust everything that's logical, then you look at maybe is it paranormal? Is it why we're here? And then we explore the paranormal side of it.
I think that's what's good about our group is we go in as skeptics. We don't automatically go in like, oh my God, we're going to find ghosts. You know what I mean? We don't. We go in as skeptics. We go in to try to rule out as much as we can. Okay, and when everything normal is ruled out, well, then it's got to be paranormal because there's nothing else left. You know what I mean? But
usually in that case, we find evidence to prove that it is paranormal when everything is ruled out.
And then, then we come back together as a group. We go over all the evidence and we argue like crazy, and determine what we heard. Did we really hear something? Did we not? And if we don't come up with a consensus, we throw it out. So we're really good at looking at it. We're not just we got to find a ghost. There's
it's always just
time when we find nothing.
I don't want to go back to people and say, "Hey, you have a ghost in your house," and it's just like the laundry, or it's just like the it's like the rattle of the stairs when Grandma goes up the stairs to go to bed. It's just like, or it's the way the light comes in the room as the car goes up the road, and it makes it look like a shadow crossing the room. It's just really the ghost. I don't want to tell them that the demon's in their house when it's nothing.
Right.
So I want to make sure if I tell them something that there's something we potentially think could be supernatural in your house, I want to be pretty goddamn sure that I'm not blowing smoke up their ass, because that's what I want to do.
So,
like, can I? I want to ask one specific question. I'll ask you if you want to go a different direction. Fine. Last time when we talked about this, we were talking about that sort of the mental health angle, and Buddy was saying these is probably some of the hardest ones to deal with, because those people are probably more invested that it is something paranormal. And Dale, since you sounds like you're the expert in that area. How do you sort of shut something like that down and try to convince a person that doesn't want to hear it?
Oh my God. If I had a dime for every time that I had somebody like call me or send me an email repeatedly after they've been said, no, we haven't found anything paranormal. We don't think there's anything paranormal here, or preliminary even, or like any of it. I have another guy every 5 or 6 months. He'll stop taking his meds and he'll start emailing every single group out there. And I'm experiencing this, that, the other thing. It's just people, you get to know people like that. You get other people that just like kind of want the attention, and you kind of after a while.
Hey, buddy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you realize it, but Kev actually asked Dale a question. And she was getting ready to speak.
I'm sorry.
You actually went, oh, wait, I want to make sure you know what you did, because you need to know what you did. Kev was like, right, Dale? And then you went, oh my God. You're not gonna, and it was like a teenage girl, like, oh my God, you're not gonna believe what I found. And then you went on this big thing with a bunch of examples, and Kev never got a chance to ask you a question. What's going on here?
Buddy's gonna step away. Go ahead, Kev.
What's the deal? We're gonna learn something we don't want to know, Kev. Go ahead. Right.
Let me get that answer the question, though.
Well, no, what do I know? What do you mean, what do I know? Kev, go ahead. What do you want to say?
No, I think I got the question out there. My thing was just, since you come in sort of, as that be your area of expertise, I would assume you're probably getting even more detail. It's probably getting even more in depth, and the person probably really does not want to hear what you have to tell them.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I guess, how do you handle that? How do you deal with it?
I mean, there are some people, we haven't come across a lot of people. There's a few that Buddy has come across that are obviously mentally ill. But for the most part, the people that we have worked with through at least since I've been part of the group, the mental illness hasn't been so severe that it would interfere with what we were trying to do.
Okay.
I mean, I can assess them pretty quickly. I mean, I've been around enough mental health for 20 years that I can see when it's true mental health and when it's not.
Like that lady.
That answer?
You remember that lady?
No, that answers it.
Me and Joe went to her house with James.
Yes, I do.
The crazy lady?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, go on.
Is that the girl that attacked?
Yeah.
This is the one that attacked, that started to howl, growl, and attack. Is that the girl?
It is. I recorded that session and I let Dale listen to it, and we kind of giggled at the fact that she was possessed by a demon. It was like clear psychosis.
It was clear psychosis, but I mean, I just listened to the tape. I wasn't there, and it was very clear. And I'm like, yeah, no.
Sounds very clear, yes.
We can't go near this. This is just too sad. You can't exploit somebody either. That's how I felt. Somebody with significant mental illness, if you go in and support their delusion, now you're exploiting them. No, we can't do that.
So, all right. So basically, you go in there with a positive attitude. You try to keep yourself, but also try to keep yourself open to everything, right? Positive, but open to everything.
I'm protected. I always go in, I'm protected. When I go into any investigation, I have my crystals, I have my cross on. I make sure I am protected before I walk into anyone's house so that nothing will attach to me when I leave. and take home, and nothing will impact me while I'm there.
No, okay, all right. Now, I didn't know about attachments.
They can attach you if you don't say before you leave an investigation, whatever is here, you're not allowed to come home with me. They will go home with you.
I wish I knew that about 20 years ago.
What for last call at a bar?
Yeah. Don't come home. No,
you're mostly hearing that, Mike, not saying it though.
Yeah, right. Wait. How would I know if I had things attached to me? Because now that brings up something there's where my mind goes next. What do you mean I can bring home things? And if I can't bring home things, how do I know if I have things with me right now?
Okay, buddy, you want to answer that story about when the whole team, this was before my time, the whole team had incidents, right?
Right.
I got attached and went home with you guys.
Right. K7, my wife was in the hospital for 6 weeks. Catherine, a member of my team, was walking through a part of her house that she was normally in, tripped and fell and broke her arm in 3 places. Jared, who was a member of my team, his senses heightened by 100. He started hearing and experiencing things everywhere he went, rather than every now and again. I've had investigators have olfactory, which is you get a smell of a perfume or a cigar or cigarette smoke, like you said, at a residence, and then go home and have that same experience at home at different interludes, and then say, "Bob, is that you?" Which was the spirit, we would think. And Bob, please stop now. And then the smell goes away. And it never happened to her again. But it was just weird coincidences like that, where a spirit could potentially come home with you. Now, why doesn't it happen all the time? Because apparently they're around us all the time. I don't know.
Are you saying that a spirit tripped that person?
Yeah, well, maybe.
No,
Member of my own family might have been pushed down a flight of stairs.
Really?
By a spirit, yeah. The spirit talked. There was a medium that I brought into a place of work that was haunted. It was a haunted house that somebody had worked at, and she had fallen down a flight of stairs. The medium was in there, had no idea that this had happened. They said, "Did somebody fall down a flight of stairs? This flight of stairs here, this giant ballroom stairs?" I'm like, "Yeah." The secretary who worked here, and it was a big to do. And so it was this woman with the white dress on the 3rd floor. Son of a bitch, huh? But yeah, it's I don't know, man.
All right. So how do I know if I have anything attached to me right now?
That's you, Dale. Go ahead.
There'd be physical symptoms. You would. A lot of times we call it a paranormal hangover after we do an investigation. So after you get home, I can never sleep after an investigation at all. I have very uninterrupted sleep all night long, weird, very vivid dreams, and then just exhausted for the whole next day. So when you have something attached to you, you may have physical symptoms like headache, upset stomachs, aches and pains, just things that just don't feel right, and there's no other reason for it. Yeah, some people say, well, I'm just, I caught a virus, I had the flu, or whatever it is. Yeah, it could be that, but a lot of times it could, if it doesn't clear up, or if you go see someone who is spiritual and they're like, something is attached to you. I mean, they can see it.
Sometimes emotions.
Yeah, and they can see spirits attached to you too.
You have
you want to know
crying and don't know why, stuff like that.
So how wouldn't I want, Mike? Wouldn't I want to know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would want to know. I want to, and I also want to know how do you clear it? If, let's just say, as a precautionary measure, you want to just clear that sort of thing. Is there something you can do?
Yeah, what's the travel size thing that we can do to clear ourselves of things like that? On the go, Kev, I need to clear these things off my back. So what can I do?
I would personally, I always carry crystals around with me. It helps keep me balanced, helps keep me protected. I know people that burn sage in their houses to clear the negative energy out. I personally have smokeless sage because I don't like burning things in my house. So I have smokeless sage. That also keeps the negative energy around. I mean, that's the type of stuff I do. And then I receive Reiki on a regular basis from other practitioners, or I give it to myself to help. Yeah. I mean, like I said earlier, we're always in charge of the energy all around us all the time. I think when people get scared and they're afraid, and I know so many people that have asked me like what it's like to be a paranormal investigator, and am I afraid of the demons and all that other stuff. It's not like it is in the movies. It's just not, there's not big scary things jumping out at you all the time. I mean, yeah, I've had my hair pulled plenty of times. I've been poked and everything else in investigations, but most of the time you're sitting in the dark by yourself talking to yourself. Like that's what a paranormal investigation is like. It's kind of boring, there's not a lot going on. It's not like the movies, but you're always in charge of everything around you. As long as you don't feed into the fear. I think once you feed into the fear, that almost invites the demons to come towards you. That's what I think anyhow. I think then your energy changes and the energy on the other side sees that change and then goes towards you because of the fear.
So Dale, what is because I like no one ever wants to answer this question, but give me your best answer. Why are these energy spirits, whatever we want to use as a term, I guess, staying? Like why do they get stuck here? My buddy's given me his answer before. Like why do we I'll just be honest, why do ghosts get stuck here? Like why do they not move on? Why do they not go to where they need to go next? Why do they get stuck to places? Why do they feel like they have unfinished business?
Well, no one's really going to know that answer till we cross over to the other side,
True.
right?
Yep.
So, I mean, this is all just theory. I mean, I believe some spirits get stuck here because they have unresolved issues, things they need to work on, things they need to atone for, and they get stuck here. I believe that we can cross over back and forth, and I believe on the other side, we can go and visit whenever we want. I believe there are spirits around us all the time. We just don't necessarily see them or hear them. I believe but I mean, like I said, no one really knows the answer because no one's died and come back and told us. All of this is theory. So who knows? But I do know because, like I mentioned him earlier, my very good friend of mine, my teacher, Roland Comtois, has had so many experiences that there is no way on earth he could possibly know what he knows about someone he doesn't even know from the other side. That
crazy shit.
There's just no doubt in my mind that there's something on the other side. Can I just tell you a quick story?
Go ahead.
Yeah.
First time I met Roland was about 9 years ago. I went to a small mediumship. He only does gallery readings. He doesn't do one-on-ones. He travels all over the world, literally. I'm in a small room, about 30 people. First time I met Roland. Goes up to this girl in the back of the room. She's young 20s. He goes up to her and he says, your grandmother is standing right behind you right now, and she's a little upset with you because if you go home in your bureau, the second drawer down in the back, on the left-hand side is where her necklace is, and you haven't been wearing it, and she's a little pissed at you, so you might want to do it. The girl turned white as a ghost, and she's like, yep, that's where it is. Okay. Like, Roland is that specific. Mm-hmm. There's no way he would know what he knows. There's no way. You can't guess that good.
Roland doesn't ask you like cold questions either. He just comes out and tells you shit. And it's like, how does he know this?
Right?
Right. He's told me like details of like the morning my wife passed away that only I or her would know. That only I or her would know. And he knew it.
Specific details.
I don't tell him that.
Nobody told him.
Crazy, dude. Crazy. I can't.
How would he know what his wife said to him right before she lost consciousness?
It's so see. That's just crazy. I mean, it's creepy.
Yeah. So
because there's something there, right? So there definitely is something there. Yep. I guess my issue has always been that there's some people that just aren't being truthful, or that they're taking this and they're using it to, I don't know,
exploit.
It's like it's like they're bastardizing it, and it's
money for themselves.
So it's like you get so many of them. It's like because now that everybody can talk on the internet, you get so many like with everything. You get so many that are just not real.
Yeah.
That for me, it's so hard, but it's good having people on podcasts and getting to speak with them, because then when you get to hear like what's going on and how they do things and what they're looking for and just what they're about, it's quite different, Kev, wouldn't you agree, than just watching what it is? Because I guess I can speak for me and Kev, but we're both like so new to all this. This isn't like our bag, but we're both really open to everything. It's just that we're very skeptical just of people, not of what you're doing, not of even the things that are being done. I'm more skeptic of the people than the actual, if that makes sense, than the energy.
Yeah, and like just kind of adding a little to that, like you see those shows, right? I forgot that guy John something. He had his medium show, and then you hear like, well, it was all edited, and there was a lot of cold reading, and then there was the Long Island media or something like that. Yeah, and without saying anything about them or picking on them, it sounds like there's a lot of room for people to exploit others. But with this guy Roland, sounds like you've been in the room. It sounds like it's not a TV production. Like it's live.
He doesn't know filming.
No. Okay.
He doesn't know photography. He wants it completely. Him and his audience. He's very personal. He's very.
He's been offered TV shows that he turned down because they wanted him to stop people on the street and give them readings, and he's like, I would never do that to someone. I would never stop somebody cold like that, and he's like, I would never do that.
I mean, say what you will about about Roland, whatever, but like the Long Island Medium, or this guy John, I remember what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, right?
Or any of the Ghost Hunter shows, or any of the shows on TV that you're gonna see, they're on TV. They're on TV for a reason, for entertainment, right? They're not there to present us truth, because if they were, it'd be boring as fuck. You'd be falling asleep. You wouldn't be able to. The paranormal investigation, like Dale said, you're sitting there most of the time in the dark talking to yourself. You have these tools, and like they're wonderful because it gives you some kind of interaction. But like for the most part, it's not a lot of fun until the whole process, the whole case itself. It's like, oh my god, this is amazing. All these like little things that happen here or there. But when you're looking at it from like a broad point of view, from over a course of like sometimes 2 years, sometimes it takes years, sometimes it takes months, sometimes you don't ever come out with any answers.
Right.
Buddy,
these are on TV not to educate; they're on TV to entertain you.
Yeah.
The one thing that I noticed that you guys do that I can only equate probably to putting together like an album. Like when you're working on different songs and you have rough takes and there's just drum tracks and people hear that and they're just like, what the heck is that? It's like, wait till you hear everything put together. Wait till we bring everything up, get all the levels, get everybody in, everybody adds their 2 cents. Like we all put in what we've got and then we, move it around and we mix it and then there's what we have. And it sounds like you get people around you, you talk it through, you see what you feel, you let it kind of play itself out. And you use what you have at your disposal, right? You just use what you think you should use at the moment.
Right.
Yep.
Am I getting better in the sense of what it is that goes down in that? Like,
yeah, it does. And then like what we have, like just voice recorders alone. We have 4 or 5 in any given, even more. We've had up to like 30, depending on who we have investigating with us at the time. Recorders, just digital recorders. You have all these sessions, all these different point of views, who the person is carrying it, where they're standing in the room, if they're sitting near a window, if they're here picking up on noises outside the building, well, inside the building, are they picking up on pipes? Are you hearing the furnace? Is your recorder recording the same thing that guy was recording? There's a lot of different like points of view, and then when you're playing it all out, like, oh, I got this, and it's like it sounds like a guy, but I don't know what he's saying. And they're like, wait a minute. Was that when we were in the master bedroom? Yeah. Is that when we talked about this? Yeah. Oh, I got that too. And then they'll play it, and it'll be so much more clearer. And it'll be like, or it'll be like, oh, this is like Charles farting in the hallway, and the echo sounds like ah rah rah rah, but it's just like on your recorder it sounds like a demon, and on mine it sounds like Charles farting, and that's what it is. So usually it's not Charles, usually it's Buddy farting, but it's like you can sometimes discern. Or what they're saying, or you can like toss it out, or like, oh my god, dude, this is like, perspectives is a good way to look at it, but it's very deep. There's a lot to it.
So, God, listen, this is what I think would be awesome. Next week, buddy, maybe we talk about specific cases You want to focus in on a couple of we'll focus in on certain cases that could be. And Dale, you're more than welcome to come back. I mean, obviously,
thanks, guys. This was fun.
Yeah. The thing is, we're trying to do every different sport for an hour, just so that people have something to talk about, whatnot. But I always said that any kind of radio channel should have that show on a Sunday night that's Art Bell-esque in the sense of I don't want to talk sports anymore. Talk to me about something else in the world. Talk to me about something else. So paranormal. Thank you. You know what I mean? I'm so done with sports by Sunday night. It's thank you for paranormal. And the buddy next week, if narrow in if you want on a couple of different beers and cases. And
or cases of beer.
Or cases of beer, yeah, sure.
Yeah, what do you think?
No, I think it's a good idea, and I know we're supposed to talk mostly about the energy and the pendulum stuff this hour. We kind of went all over the place, which is awesome. So Dale, it would be great. I think if you came back and you want to talk about some very specific stories, I don't want to, we don't want to shortchange that aspect.
Yeah, because I would actually want to ask, what if someone listening right now is thinking, I know that I have something kind of attached to me, or I feel like I have this negative energy that's been following me. What do they do? Who do they contact? Where do they go?
We have a network.
Kev,
what did you say?
Great at it, right? He waits till she starts and he cuts it right off.
Thank you. Thank God he's my nephew. I can smack him around later. Please.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you. I would go to somebody that is into this kind of stuff. So contact someone at White Light Bookstore in Cranston.
I'm gonna do that.
Because they have a lot of good people there. Gloria is the owner, and she's a fabulous lady. And
let her know a loudmouth Italian's going to probably come in sometime this week. I'm not even kidding. I'll be down there to check it out.
Yeah.
Tell her for stupid hat.
She'll give you some good crystals to hold on to you, too, to help keep you balanced and keep the negative energy away from you.
What's the name of the place again? White
Light Bookstore in Cranston. It's right across the street from Marchetti's.
Oh, Marchetti's.
Oh, okay, yeah.
In that little plaza. Gloria, she's the owner. She's a fabulous lady. Tell her I sent you.
I will. So yeah. In wrapping with that would be great, Kev, if we wanted to bounce that to next week, because those are questions. I still have so many questions that I'm just starting to finally get into it. But thank you guys very much. Anything else before we leave? You done, buddy? Anything else you want to say before I wrap it?
I got nothing else, Mike. Go ahead.
All right, guys. Thank you. It's legit fantasy sports, legit paranormal. Me, Mike Lepre with everybody else. Thank you for watching. We will see you next Sunday. Be safe.
Good evening. I hope you guys enjoyed that was Legit Paranormal episode 4, believe it or not. First 3 episodes featured this guy. I had nobody else to contend with, just me talking the whole time. This is my first show. This is our first show with an actual guest. We were blessed to be joined by my beautiful and talented Auntie Dale, the host of tonight's show. It's a legit metaphysical world. Oh my gosh, I adjust my camera. She will be joining you again live next Tuesday and every Tuesday, as long as our guests don't back out last minute and we can't find a replacement. So for this week, for Legit Paranormal Podcast, you can find all of our podcasts on legitpodcast.com. Tomorrow night, live at 8:05. Join us for Legit Paranormal News with the King Michael and Dreamy David Barr, and they're joined by Jean Jet2 Broida. Jean has a lovely, I don't know, she's got a book. Well, she's got a book, but she wrote a book, but she's got a lovely, dossier, I guess, of UFO files and UFO stuff. And she always has something really fun and interesting about UFOs or UAPs, whatever they call them these days, however they identify. So tune in tomorrow night live for Legit Paranormal News. On Thursday night, you can see my lovely face again on Legit Paranormal Clips. I'm joined by the King Michael, Black Island Rick, and there might be some Magic Man. Now you see me, now you don't. I'm not sure his name. He's a magician on Black Island. and he might join us for some legit clips as we host Jill Shelley of St. Croix Paranormal. Jill has been on Legit Paranormal Show. She's the owner of St. Croix Paranormal as well as the Haunted Boyd House, which is a location out there. I think it's out in Minnesota. I hope I'm right, but she's going to join us and she's going to bring with her some really fantastic clips of evidence or data, if you will, whatever you call it these days, but it's proof maybe of something in the afterlife. I don't know. Come and find out. Tune in to legitpodcast.com live at 8:05 on Friday evening. We go south. We travel south to Virginia and the Shenandoah Mountains and the wonderful world of Bigfoot, as we're joined by Daniel Bigfoot Benoit and his it's the Bigfoot Zone, and they do everything from talking about Bigfoots, how the cryptids, to how they investigate, to being out there actually in the woods. It's really impressive. I'm not really a Bigfoot guy, but they're getting me closer to believing in Bigfoot. Tune in. We have Saturdays off, but tune in for sure on Sunday as the anchor, the cornerstone of legitpodcast.com. Legit Paranormal live at 7:05 with this lovely face again, King Michael and Joey Paranormal, if he para shows. Our guest will be Marie Wesson. It was supposed to be Steve Wesson, owner and operator of the Nottingham Haunted Museum and the UK Ghost Hunters. However, he was busy. He was on tour, so he had his wife. He arranged for his wife, co-owner of Nottingham Haunted Museum and UK Ghost Hunters, to stand in for him. He arranged that, knowing that he wouldn't be able to be on the show. Just all we're asking here at legitpodcast.com, if you're scheduled to be on one of our shows and you know there's a chance that you may not make it, please pick up a phone. I don't know. Nobody picks up a phone anymore nowadays. Shoot us an email. Send us a text. Say, hey, something came up. I can't make it. Sure, give us more than 2 hours notice. That'd be great. We'd be able to fill the hole. So for Dale Beluccio, Auntie Dale Beluccio, for anyone else who's watching, for a legit metaphysical open bar, this is Buddy Thayer, and that's all I got for you. Have a good night, folks.